Hey there, John Paulus here. I just drew a card from Life's Potluck Buffet card deck, and the card was number 9. Bad managers and leaders are great for showing how to do it right. Huh? That seems like the opposite of what you mean. It's not the opposite, and here's why. You never learn more about team management and leadership than by being stuck with a bad supervisor or leader. Study what these people do and how it makes you and others feel. Then, do the exact opposite. If you are a leader or manager, consider how you are really responsible for the problems you blame on others. Then change how you think, speak, and act. Describe a bad experience involving management or leadership. Say what you will do next time to do it right. That goes for either side of the equation. If you're a manager and you're being honest with yourself and you're thinking of a moment when you did something that made the people who work for you and with you feel like they didn't want to work for you or with you, think simply of what the opposite of what you did was. The opposite of what you did that made them feel like they didn't want to work for you. And imagine doing the opposite. And you'll realize that by doing the opposite, you would have made them feel like they are happy to work for you. Did you berate someone for making a mistake? Imagine doing the opposite and praising them for making the mistake. Figure out a way in which the mistake that was made was actually praiseworthy. Likewise, if you're not in a position of management, and you will be in the future, then think about, when I am in charge, I am going to make sure that I don't make people feel this way, because I know how it feels when supervisors, managers, and leaders do the wrong thing. I have so many examples in my life for this, and I'm sure you have so many too. So instead of boring you with that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the principles of good management. There's one core principle of good management, and that is treating people right. That means treating people who work with you, for you, and for who you work right. That means treating people who do business with you right. That means treating everyone right. It sounds simple, but it is not simple, and we know this because our own self-interests get in the way. But if you understand that when you treat people badly, that you're doing yourself harm, that you're not treating yourself right by doing that, then I think that helps. Because if you realize that treating yourself right is part of this equation too, then it all makes sense. How often does something happen because you're feeling bad about yourself and then externalizing it on somebody else? People make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We all scream for ice cream. We all make mistakes. But how we handle these mistakes says it all. Paying attention to yourself and self-awareness is the first step to managing right. If you pay attention to yourself and let yourself go when you've done something that you thought, oh, what a mistake, what a disaster, then you'll let others go when they make mistakes. And that understanding is the key to it all. Understanding yourself, understanding others, and being understanding, whatever others do. We all too often treat our work like an exam. There's correct answers and there's wrong answers. And we treat other people's work that way too. And when we treat work that way, we treat people badly. And I would like to remind you of that video with Herbie Hancock talking about how Miles Davis took a chord that Herbie Hancock played when Miles Davis was soloing and made it right. A chord that Herbie Hancock just thought sounded wrong. In the video, he covers his ears with his hands because it just sounded wrong. Here's a good tip. Next time something goes wrong at work, be like Miles Davis Next time something goes wrong, simply understand it as something that happened. And once you treat it as something that happened, you can respond to it in a way that not only fixes the problem, but makes the situation something better than might have happened before. It's mind-boggling sometimes, but sometimes mistakes lead to much greater flourishing than getting something right. And if you think this way, it turns everything on its head. Because in situations where so many things are going wrong, where you feel like everything is going wrong, those are not the worst situations to be in. Those are the situations that will result in the greatest, most astounding successes. Imagine a situation where we lament the fact when nothing is going wrong, because the potential for flourishing is less. Imagine that situation. When I talk about how mistakes can go right, I'm talking about embracing the imperfection of life. I'm talking about embracing yourself as who you are. They usually say warts and all. And I'm talking about embracing others in the same way. Because people are the only thing there when it comes to management. When we focus on content, when we focus on technicalities, we're already managing badly. Managing and leading, which are two separate things, both center on people and not technicalities. And that's why being like Miles Davis in Herbie Hancock's story, that when somebody who's working for you, and Herbie Hancock was working for Miles Davis, that was Miles Davis's band, and when Herbie Hancock played that chord that he thought was so wrong, what did Miles Davis do? Did he stop playing and say, okay, we're going to have to start over again because this was all wrong, Herbie? No. He adjusted. An adjustment to things that happen is the be-all and end-all of good management and the be-all and end-all of good leadership. In this way, they are the same. So think about those bad moments that have happened where somebody did something wrong and a manager or a leader or you yourself didn't act like Miles Davis. When you stopped the presses, when you screamed and shouted about something that had been done wrong, and you screamed and shouted at a person for doing wrong. Imagine now that instead you have to come up with a clever way of adjusting to make what that person did right. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed card number 9, Bad Managers and Leaders Are Great for Showing How to Do It Right, then head on over to lifespotluck.com and grab a pack for yourself today. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.